Inside the Birds is back. What's up, everybody? Geoff Mosher, Adam Caplan for Inside the Birds. We have a fun Inside the Birds episode planned. Of course, it's presented to you by our friends at Ocean Casino Resort. It is the exclusive Jersey Shore resort of Inside the Birds. And why is this going to be a fun podcast? Well, because we've got some fun ideas. First of all, there's some interesting news to go through, which we'll go through about Eagles practices. Secondly, they did have an OTA last week. I was able to go so we can share some of the observations. Now, like we told them in the last, our listeners in the last podcast, Adam, we'll just lay out observations. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, anything. Maybe a few things that you can draw long-term conclusions of, but not much.
There's definitely some intel, which you saw and I've heard separately, which we'll talk about, no doubt. And yeah, it's interesting. The Eagles dropped the joint practice thing. I wasn't expecting that. That's another one. Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
And back-to-back weeks late in August, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of teams don't like practicing late in. They don't like the joints so late in August. But we'll discuss why it's going to be okay.
We will, and we'll get into that. And then we've got a fun exercise planned. It's a really cool concept we thought of. We are going to do. Adam and I will do an NFC East draft. We're each going to draft an offense. We'll do defense next podcast, right? We're going to draft a starting 11 using only NFC East players. And this is going to involve our listeners, our viewers, our fans, everything like that, because we're going to have you respond. We'll put out a poll on Twitter from our @InsideBirds account, and you can email us at insidethebirds@gmail.com or tweet us, however you want to reach out to us. And you tell us whose offense you like better, Adam's offense or my offense. And we'll explain the rules because we wanted to make this as realistic as possible. And we'll explain the rules when we get to that part of the podcast. But it's a cool concept. It's going to be fun. And I just think people are really going to get into it. And I like the interactive part. I'm curious to see what the people say. My hunch is whoever has the most Eagles on their team, Adam, is just going to be like, oh, well, he's this guy. We're going to go with his team.
Before we get started, I'll just tell you, I've not seen your list, so I have no idea who's on yours. I could probably figure it out.
Well, we don't have a list, right? We're drafting. We're just picking players who are available. It's not
right. Right. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it's true draft style. That's what makes it fun because there'll be some strategy involved that we'll get into.
Right, and of course, part. Right. So it's okay. You're going to want to take certain players, and if not, it's who's number 2 behind that.
Exactly. There's going to be a lot of strategy involved. So we'll get to that too. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. In fact, we had Clay Harbor on with us last week. It was a great podcast. So just really knowing the Birds inside out, knowing the league now inside out. If you haven't caught it, it's a really good walk down memory lane with him being an Eagle and everything, but also getting his thoughts on the Eagles and some other NFL teams. He would have been a good person to do this with us if we did like a 3-team NFC East draft. That would be even fun. So maybe if we ever do this again, we'll get him involved as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually, what we may do maybe with Clay, we could always do backups and do like a 53.
Yeah.
That should be interesting, By the way, on that show we did with Clay last week, he talks about the Jaguars, the Bears, because he does post-game Bears?
Post-game for the Bears, yeah.
Yeah. He's a big Khalil Herbert fan, no question about that. And it really brings the inside about what it's like when you're like he was a 4th-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
You come from a small school, and when you see you're not going to make it long-term, like how he describes, because he was the number 2 tight end, as a rookie. It's pretty impressive. But he never got to be where maybe he thought he should have been. And hearing him describe that was pretty interesting.
Absolutely. So, listen, Clay likes the Eagles, loves what they have in pass catching talent. Even as a big fan of Dan Arnold, you can hear him talk about that. And Andrew DeCecco on InsideTheBirds.com last week wrote a really fascinating wide receiver breakdown. And he made some really good points. And the point is basically the Eagles have A.J. Brown and they have Quez Watkins, right? So those are 2 obviously star receivers. Very likely Quez Watkins and Olamide, if I got that right, or Alamedi, or is it? No, Olamide. Zacchaeus. Yeah. I mean, those are the 2 next guys in line, but certainly they can be pushed. And he went through each wide receiver the Eagles have brought in from Britton Covey to Charleston Rambo to like 7 other guys and broke down what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how they might figure in, which guy's more of a slot, which one's more of an outside. And it made me realize that the sort of backup wide receiver battle is going to be really interesting to watch. Some of these guys who, like Joseph Nada, for example, Hazelwood, the rookie free agent, they have some really interesting skill set, like strengths, right, that might fit what the Eagles need. Some wide receivers are good red zone targets because they have size and strength, and you wouldn't say Devontae Smith has size. He's a good red zone target, but he's not a size guy. Right. Even AJ Brown's not 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". So it just really brought to light, Adam, like what we can look for this summer in training camp. Obviously, we know about Smith and Brown. You don't pay too much attention to that, but there's about 5 or 6 guys that should at least be fun to watch.
And special teams is obviously huge for these guys they have to play on specials. There's no other way around it.
Right.
But not as a guy who offers something they don't have. They don't have a tall guy at receiver. So yeah, that's something we talked about when we did our initial 53 our too early 53-man roster. That's why I had him on it, because he gives them something they don't have is length.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. And I think 2 guys, right, have played. 2 different guys have played with Jalen Hurts in college. I think Rambo did. Charleston Rambo did, yep. And then somebody else did. Was it Hazelwood? Did he go from Oklahoma to Arkansas? Was that
possibly? I don't recall. Rambo definitely did. But
there was another guy who played with Jalen Hurts in college. Okay. It's kind of funny. It's like, is he calling shots here? Is he helping Howie bring in guys?
Look, you got this guy Brian Johnson. He's working with. He's right for his life, but Brian Johnson is certainly going to be an interesting guy to follow, and so Sean decides. It's going to be a fun summer because there are actually jobs open. Realistically, they're the bottom of the rosters. There are a lot of roles open there, and we'll see who wins.
Oh, glad you mentioned Brian Johnson. Very interesting observation. I didn't even tweet this, but I made about him at OTAs that remind me when we talk about it to get to, because I was sort of blown away by it.
Okay.
So we'll talk about it in a second. Want to welcome our new subscriber to Patreon, Sean P. Really happy to have him aboard. I imagine that maybe he saw a snippet of the Rick Spielman interview we did on what it's like for a GM to evaluate OTAs, what they're looking for and how it goes, the backroom meetings, everything that's involved with OTAs from a sort of not off the field standpoint, but what goes on in the facility and how the evaluators go through the tape and everything and what their expectations are. So welcome to Sean P. And if you want to be involved with our Patreon channel, all you got to do is subscribe at patreon.com/inside the birds. We do 2 podcasts a month. One is usually an interview with somebody. Then we do an Ask ITB live stream podcast. And then we've also been doing video question and answer set where you and I just answer a couple of questions that people send to us on the platform. So we're trying to do more and more for our Patreon subscribers as we go along. And of course, Adam does an awesome chat every Wednesday on our Discord channel, which of course, again, you can be a part of if you are a Patreon subscriber. He does it at 8:00 every Wednesday, and the questions are great. And I think you give really good answers. I mean, you really spend time with these guys. Almost sometimes you're 45 minutes to an hour doing this chat.
Yeah, it depends. Like the pre-draft ones, you had to go with, like, I might have gone an hour. I don't know, probably 45 minutes, but depends on what time of year. But the cool thing is, OTAs for the Eagles end this week in 3 days.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. They came and then they went.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to our next chat in 2 days.
All right, so some news about the Eagles. A joint practice, which, obviously that's becoming pretty much commonplace now. Every year, teams are going to do joint practices as there are fewer and lesser training camp hours. And of course, preseason games shrinking. So this is a good way the teams are finding to get extra work in and competitive work in. Now, the Eagles are going to have a joint practice, not practices. This is weird, Adam, right? A joint practice on August 22nd, which is a Tuesday, leading up to their Thursday game against the Colts. This is good at Colts, so Shane Steichen, nice connection there. But have you seen other joint practice? I mean, usually it's a multi-day thing. The only time last year was one against the Dolphins, right? Because they got the stomach virus.
Oh, right. You and I were there. No, the only one that I remember in recent years is the Giants-Jets. I almost went talking to one of the teams last summer. For some reason, both had an off day, and they decided to do a joint practice just for one day because it was maybe at the end of camp and they had some extra time. So they did one.
I remember that, but it was originally supposed to be a 2-day. I think they truncated it to 1 day for some reason, right?
I don't remember. I just know I'm like, just why are they doing one? But it's very rare to just do 1 day. So what's going to happen is the Eagles will host the Browns the week before, but they're doing 2 days. They haven't announced the dates, but it's almost certain it'll be Monday and Tuesday because that's the way the joint practices work. You have the off day the day before the game. You have to, which is a walkthrough. You have a walkthrough at all in preseason, and you practice the 2 days before. And these are really beneficial, though. Coaches really like them. They're controlled. You generally only use half the field, but what you do is you submit what you want to work on. Both teams submit it. I've seen the rundowns before, but I won't name the team. I won't out the head coach, but one team told me years ago that the other team was so unprofessional, they decided they would never have practice with the team again. Because they started doing things were not on the rundown. Look, we're not doing.
No, you can't do that. That's
right.
Awful.
Exactly the way that GM. He was so pissed off. He was so mad. I go, I said, hey, how did everything go? He goes, it was terrible. The other head coach was a bleep, and he didn't do. He wanted to do things that we were not prepared for, and because
that's not right. Because these coaches spend so much time scripting these from top to bottom. There's a lot that goes into that. They got to call each other, they got to plan out to go off script is not right.
Yeah, I don't again, this is some years ago. Needless to say, I don't think this, in fact, not only was this head coach wanted to get him fired from the team he was coaching for, I don't think he's in the NFL anymore. He's been in the system.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I won't get into who the guy is, but it was just comical. I just remember it was interesting to hear that I'd never heard that before. Like they joined practice, someone kind of going rogue and saying, hey, like I guess during the practice said, hey, we want to do this, and they're like, no, what are you talking about?
That's ridiculous.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm excited about the joint practice against the Colts because that means we will get to see. Hopefully, you're around. You might be on your tour, but we will get to see Anthony Richardson front and center. And I'm so geeked up about this guy, man. I honestly, I know we talked I think he's going to take the league by storm. Even though I get that he has a lot to work on, but he's just going to be a problem. Like I just see it right away.
Here's the thing, because before we move on here, the other part I want to talk about with these practices is talking to some teams. If they've got 2 sets, some teams will not let their veterans play in the preseason. They'll just have them work here, get the extra practice time. So you mentioned Richardson. If they think he's going to be the starter, they may just have their offensive line practice against the Eagles and not work him in the preseason game, depending on how they want to look at it. Because there are only 3 preseason games now. You remember the 3rd preseason game would be the dress rehearsal. Not anymore. It's completely scattered last year.
Right.
No rhyme or reason. Each team did it differently, so it's going to be interesting to see how that'll work out on that Tuesday.
Minshew's coming here to put on a show too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Former Eagle there, and Buckner and Grover Stewart, Quiddy Pay.
Yeah.
Shaq Leonard. Hopefully he's healthy. And it'll be fun. No, Jonathan Taylor, of course, at running back, Pittman and Alec Pierce, and Isaiah McKenzie, Josh Jones, we followed drafted as a slot receiver out of North Carolina, and yeah, it'll be fun. Absolutely.
And so, like as you mentioned, so it's the Colts for 1 practice, and the Browns most likely. Yeah, it'll be 2 practices. Now that's going to be in Berea, right?
No, here.
Oh no, that's here this time. Yeah, so both joint practices are here.
No, is that
awesome?
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember both. Like when the Eagles practiced joint, were both here.
Yeah, maybe I don't. Well, was it the year when Tom Brady came? Was that Ravens and Patriots here?
I know both were here, but I don't know if they were the same year.
Yeah, the year that they went to the Super Bowl in 2017, the Dolphins were here, but I think, yeah, I think that they did the Jets though in New York though. If I'm not mistaken.
And Rick Spielman talks about that part in the Patreon Chalk Talk about how beneficial it is for not only preseason but for joint practices, because you get to see the other team's roster.
Right.
It's the bottom part of it. And as I just mentioned, I don't know that JHI would have been an Eagle had they not practiced against them. Because the other thing is, I'm told that with the practice tape, yes, you have the practice tape. You are not allowed to share. It seems obvious, but you're not allowed to share the practice tape with another team. It's like an honor. Right. You don't sign anything. It's like honor, scouts honor, whatever.
Yeah,
share it because that would be all. You can't. I mean,
of course.
you can't be sharing with another team.
All right, cool, awesome, good stuff. So that's the information on joint practices, and I imagine we'll be bringing live news from you straight from. Maybe we should try to do like a show. We wanted to do that from Miami last year. We did. Wait, we did do one from Miami, didn't we?
We did. Well, no, what happened
was it a live stream or
no? We taped it.
We did.
What happened was, remember, they had the one day was canceled.
Right.
I don't remember which day, but I just remember that was a really good spirited practice. The one day they did practice.
Yes.
That's one. Is that the one where we saw what we saw? Well, I know we saw Tyree Jackson look like he bulked up. There's something interesting about the Eagles were playing their defensive scheme. Sometimes.
I just remember that it was the Dolphins that they were blitzing constantly. It was coming, and Jalen Hurts. Remember, we thought it was kind of a meh practice because it was like dump off. That
was it. Then, they were coming after him.
Yeah, and then Nick Sirianni the next day was like, "This is one of the greatest practices Jalen Hurts ever had." And you and I are looking at each other like, we didn't see a ball in the air more than like five. But he made a great point. It was all about making the right decision in the face of pressure.
But that practice. And I don't remember exactly who was practicing, not practicing. I just remember seeing the Eagles scheme. They were mirror match covering. I was like, oh, they're finally going to do it. It looks they didn't do it like they thought they were going to do.
That's right.
That was the one thing I got out of it. I'm like, all right, let's see. We've been pulled before, and they wound up doing it pretty darn well.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And then, oh, that's right. You were at practice last Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and by the way, the other thing that stood out at Miami was that nobody could cover Tyreek Hill in one-on-ones or even in 7-on-7 or nothing. In no form or fashion were they able to cover.
And I saw him twice. They had a joint practice, Miami and Tampa. I felt so bad for the Buck corners. It was absolutely absurd.
It is.
Tyreek Hill was doing. It was actually really. It's. Were you at the practice when Brady came here?
Oh yeah. Oh god.
27 for 27.
Yeah.
Every pass was. I usually don't truck practice. Kind of waste of time. But because it was all, best quarterback in NFL history. I just wanted to see how he was doing. I'm going to chart it.
Yeah.
I was like mesmerized. I was in total awe. Every pass was thrown with anticipation. Ball never hit the ground. Ridiculous.
Yeah. It actually backfired. I was making fun of the charters. I'm like, I don't have to chart nothing. It's 100%. Exactly. Completed every pass.
But I saw every pass is go get it. Go get it. You get pass target. Go get it. Go get it. Yep. It was super special. Really
poetry in motion. It was. All right, let's get to some of the observations I made at the OTAs last week. First, as we've been telling you, Ocean Casino Resort's 5th birthday is this summer. They can't wait to celebrate with you. So join Ocean for exciting promotions and sweepstakes, headline entertainment, the best day life and nightlife lineup in AC, the debut of the birthday bar, exclusive local collabs and partnerships, commemorative 5th birthday merchandise, and so much more. Don't miss stunning fireworks and unique events all summer long. Ocean Rewards members will enjoy over $5 million in gifts and prizes. So be sure to sign up for an Ocean Rewards card to get in on the fun next time you visit. All right. So I don't want to forget about this. So I'm going to start off with my Brian Johnson observation. I've never seen this. And I had a conversation with some of the other beat guys too. And they're like, yeah, I've not seen that too. He's the offensive coordinator now. Usually the offensive coordinator stands behind the quarterback and the offense. If you're looking at a field going left to right, usually behind, where the rest of the team is, but a little bit in front of them, he's calling out the plays.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson stood on the sideline, the far sideline, like near where the media stands, right? Yeah. And watches it from behind the defense. Huh. And it's really, and he also has he's got the walkie-talkie in his hand, so he can still communicate through the helmet and everything like that. And the only thing I can think of is that he's trying to get a more all 22 viewish of what the defense is doing and how the offense is responding. And he's sort of, because he's a quarterback's coach by nature, right? He's sort of detaching from just being in the quarterback's ear all the time and getting a little bit more of a, lack of a better term, bird's eye view of the entire offense. I've never seen a coordinator on the sideline watching. Sometimes you'll see him like up in a booth.
Yeah.
Mostly they'll be behind the action, never the sideline. So that was something that really jumped out at me. That was a little bit different. It's one day. Maybe he never does it when we go this Thursday, or if that's the day, maybe he doesn't do it again. But I just thought that was really interesting because he did it.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, I'm trying to picture at a training camp practice. the coordinator, maybe you're talking offense, is going to be talking. He's going to be with the quarterback coach, or sometimes they're separated. One guy will be behind the huddle. He'll just watch from there to watch the offensive line and everything. And you might see the quarterback coach be on the sideline like you're talking about, but in this case, maybe it was you'll see. So yeah, it's interesting. But
yeah,
look, that's who knows with Brian Johnson how he sees it. This is his rundown. Shane Steichen's no longer there, and this is his offense.
Yeah, so moving on. I mean, obviously, I can't. Certain guys were not there, and we don't know. It's not a mandatory camp, so they're not going to tell you. James Bradbury was not there. I have no idea why James Bradbury wasn't there, and the Eagles are not going to sit there and announce it because it's voluntary in nature. So there's nobody has to be there. So Bradbury could have been in Cabo sipping margaritas, or he could be dead. We wouldn't know because the Eagles would never say anything about it, right?
But why have this? Then why would you agree to have only 6 practices?
I agree with you on that one, and I would think those who weren't there had a very justifiable and legit. I was being facetious when I said he could be in drinking margaritas or not even alive. I mean, it's just my point was they're not going to tell you why guys aren't there, so you kind of have to figure it out yourself or just not worry about it. Because
now I know some teams when players don't practice, that let's say that they may be on the sideline. Sometimes you can't see everybody there. They just or they're in lifting and maybe they come out after practice and workout. Who knows? But again, they weren't practicing when the team was. So that's interesting that they were doing that.
Right. There was one guy, Tyreek Cleveland, the wide receiver, who's on the team because he went to Florida and how he was drafting too many Bulldogs, so he had to get a Florida guy. He's on the. No, I'm just kidding. But he did go to Florida. I think he was there when Brian Johnson was there. But he was not. He was out there, but he wasn't wearing a helmet. He didn't take part in much. So again, they're not going to tell you why. You have to assume there's some kind of minor injury because he was out there. And by the way, Bradbury could have been in the building for all I know. I don't know. So I just know he wasn't there, and his spot on the first team was taken up by. It was sort of a combination of Greedy Williams and Josh Jobe. Each got a little bit of run in that spot that I saw. Obviously, the bigger news was that Zach McPherson was running slot because Avonte Maddox wasn't there. So don't know where Avonte Maddox was, but he wasn't there, and Zach McPherson was getting a lot of run in the slot. That's not really surprising. I mean, we've talked for a while now, Adam, about how Greg Cosell said he thought that McPherson was a better slot corner at Texas Tech than he was an outside corner, and he certainly wasn't able to get on the field in any other way. And we know Maddox has battled a lot of injuries the last 2 years, and we know that Josiah Scott did not really ace his test trying to be the backup slot. So Zach McPherson getting a shot here.
Yeah, and he could play inside or outside, but he was like, more or less, he was the top outside corner, but you wouldn't know because he didn't really have to play. Mostly a special teams player. Didn't play a lot on defense, but now he's got competition, and the guy who should win it on the outside is Greedy Williams and McPherson now. So we'll see what they do. Again, I don't put too much stock in OTAs, but the one thing I do always look for is, are they cross-training players? This is the time to start doing it. And then you follow up in training camp. I understand these are very light, but it is important from a sort of a visual standpoint. Okay, let's get him in there to be any position. Let's get the footwork going. A lot of teams do this, that they start juggling, they start cross-training players, like corners to safeties, right guard, left guard, right tackle, left tackle, D tackle, DN. You might try a guy who's been playing with his hand down. You might stand him up here. Who knows? By the way, do you see Derek Barnett?
I don't recall seeing Derek Barnett.
Okay. He's done well coming back. So
okay. Yeah, I saw a ton of Nolan Smith. But by the way, Nolan Smith, I remember his press conference, right? And he said, I'm a leader. And they said, well, how? And he's like, listen, I will go 100% every practice, no matter what. And in their format, what they did was they had a defense out there, but not interior tackle. So they had 2 edge rushers, 1 or 2 linebackers, and then a back end coverage based on whether they were nickel and dime, right? So what they really had was 8 players out there. And then on offense, they would have the quarterback and then just skill position players, no offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah, you don't do 11-11. Yeah, I should have mentioned that. They typically don't do 11-11.
So it was like 1, 2, 3. It was like a running back, a tight end, that's 2, a quarterback, 3. So it was like 6-on-8 if you really did the math up. No offensive linemen made 6 offensive players, right? And then versus no interior tackle, so 8 on defense.
You know, it's funny as you're saying that, it reminded me, and I don't know why, when Chip Kelly was here with the fly swatters.
Oh yeah, the human fly swatter.
Well, what would happen is like they would do these in OTAs. You would practice 6-on-8, 6-on-6, whatever the heck it was. You know, these odd numbers, weird kind of numbers for each side of the football. But it was that damn fly swatter.
Vic hated though. I know he'll never admit it, but he hated
Michael Smart.
Yeah, he's a short quarterback. They hate those.
And so was it Delamitros or one of the trainers would wear the
2 of them because they would have 2 different guys.
Right. They would wear like they put the fly swatters on the shoulders, and they were taught they were just to shut off the vision of the quarterback, so you'd have to move.
Yeah.
You ever think they could help them?
I mean, it just seemed like it was going to great lengths just to simulate somebody in your face when you could literally just have somebody, like in basketball when we practice shooting jumpers with somebody in your face, you just have somebody stand there and put their arms up.
Also, do you remember in training? Maybe it's training camp too. So I know some teams have the broom.
Yeah, right. Broom. That makes sense. But I mean, these guys are putting on backpacks with like snowshoes sticking out of them that look like fly swat. I mean, it just seemed like it was a little too like 80s sci-fi, going on.
Fly swatting.
As far as stature, Adam, 2 things jumped out to me. I thought Jack Driscoll looked a little bit more muscular up top. You know, obviously, if you want to play guard, you got to be a little more massive, and he's been rotating guard tackle. But to me, he looked muscular, and I swear to God, somebody also agreed with me on this. AJ Brown looked more muscular on top. It looked just bigger, and I'm like, man, if this dude is as fast and explosive, and just added a few extra, muscled up, like bulked up, watch out, world, because that would be crazy. He's already one of the strongest receivers, out there.
He was awesome last season, no doubt about it. It's real simple. He just has to hold up with those knees. That's Tennessee didn't think he could, but the Eagles felt he can, and so far so good in year 1.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's even bigger physically. So he did work.
Mm-hmm.
What were they with the receivers? It was just anything in particular you saw in drills, or was just
11 personnel, 12 personnel. I will say Britton Covey caught a slant from Mariota over the middle in coverage. Everything's coverage because you're not placing but what I saw that I really liked was that he made one move to turn upfield and was bam. Like he turned the Jets on. He looked like a slot receiver catching an intermediary pass and being able to turn
quicks. That was the thing that surprised me last season. Him making it, I understand, was going to be mostly because he was a punt returner. But I know the one takeaway we had last year's OTAs was he was so quick in a short area. And then he wound up never doing anything at the slot. And they were so married to Quez Watkins last year.
Yeah.
That's a slot. And
his ankle flexion looked really good. The way he was able to catch the pass, over the middle and from the right side over the middle. And so Nolan Smith, I swear, I feel like he played on the first, second, and third teams. Out there all the time. Okay. So his job as an edge rusher, he would be what you would expect from Nolan Smith, stand-up edge rusher, right? But you can't obviously hit the quarterback. So on every play, he takes about 3 steps toward the quarterback, fires off the line of scrimmage, then stops, right, and then drops into a coverage because what else is he going to do? But almost every time I looked up, if there was a completed pass, you know how the receivers always run the route out all the way to the end zone? Like if they're practicing hard, they should.
Yeah.
And then the defense doesn't do that. Defense sort of like the play is blown dead because they're always constantly switching. But every time I looked up, Nolan Smith was near the end zone where how the receiver's running that? Well, Nolan Smith is still chasing him.
Hearing him, yeah.
So he literally starts at the line of scrimmage, rushes to the quarterback, stops, and then runs all the way to the end zone with the guy who has the ball. I was like, wow, this guy's got a lot of stamina.
Yeah, look, he's going to be an interesting player because you never know. He might line up inside linebacker there.
Yeah. And then the only other, obviously Mariota, he did throw an interception to Christian Ellis. It was kind of a straight, like you shouldn't throw interceptions in these 6-on-8s because you have all the time in the world. And even if there's nothing open, you can throw it away. But he definitely tried. I couldn't see the receiver he was trying to hit. He rolled to his left a little bit. The receiver, I believe, had lined up on the inside and was running an out to the left. and Marcus just waited too long. So by the time, if you wait 3 seconds, all the linebackers are dropping, everybody's dropping, and he tried to put it over Ellis, and he wound up just throwing it right to Ellis. But again, that's one play of one practice. I'm not making a big deal of it, but it stood out because it was the only interception thrown that in the 28 minutes that they might have actually. Because after that, they said the veteran, after about 25 minutes, the veterans walked off. They're like, they're done. And it was just young kids.
Was it his first year when they had a training camp practice, which was like 48 minutes?
Maybe.
It was less than an hour.
Yes, it was. I remember thinking, "Oh my God, is this how it's going to be?"
Well, I think it was either. I know I was definitely there. I don't know if you were there, but I remember calling someone. It might have been you. I'm like, "Well, here's what happened. They decided to keep it short." Light. Oh, did you notice Rashad Penny, his size?
I did. He's a large man. Yeah, I mean, he's a big running back.
He was, when the Seahawks drafted him. Remember they told me he was like 235.
Yeah. And
he's like, what's he, 5'11", maybe?
That's the weird thing that stood out to me is Swift and Penny are short but stocky, and they're just svelte, strong up front, and they look like tanks.
Right, and Penny got his weight down, which they thought he would do. So yeah, I know you can't. Again, it's a short practice and it's OTAs. There's no physicality, and that's why teams don't do 11-11.
Yeah.
Because in fact, Brian Devil was talking about that, explaining why they don't do 11-11. He said if they do, it would be doing a walkthrough.
Yeah, I mean they're very, very. They won't want any contact, so there's no point of having interior linemen and offensive linemen. It's
right, they're not allowed to.
Right. At least the edge rushers, what they can do is sort of simulate like the fly swatters thing. They can do that. That makes sense. But...
I call it a line dance. It's
it does look like that.
That's what I used to call them. Like when the rules changed in 2011 after the lockout, whatever the heck it was, you want to call it, coming out in 11 in late July, early August. So they had to push up the off season and training camp into one. And I just remember like, wait a minute, what is this? It was just different. I'm like, okay, this is weird.
It's like edge rushers look like they're running wheel routes because they're going one way and they stop, pivot, and turn all the way around and go the other way.
And I remember when Mailata, when he first got there in 2018, he didn't know because he didn't know football's new to him. He didn't know that he's not engaged. Other guy.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything. As far as rotations, which we try not to make a big deal, but I do the first team safety pairing was Terrell Edmonds and Reed Blankenship. Okay. And then the second team pairing was Kavon Wallace and I want to say Justin Evans. And then the third team pairing was Sidney Brown and somebody who I can't remember now.
McCollum, maybe?
Who?
Kristen McCollum?
Oh, it might have been McCollum. Yeah.
Oh, they cut the former Seahawks safety.
They did that. Yeah. I wonder what happened there.
I think it might have been a non-football injury designation. I remember getting the personnel notice.
Which is weird because we thought maybe this guy Sneaky had a shot to because of he used to be a pretty good player, but Blair, Marquise Blair, is that his name?
Yeah, you got it. Correct. Yeah. I don't know what happened. We'll look into that. But yeah, I don't depth charts mean nothing. No, I don't really worry.
Yeah, really nothing.
What kind of shape they're in? This is from coaches I spoke with, and what Rick Spielman told us on Patreon. What kind of shape they're in? Where they line it up? Oh, yeah, I don't care who's 1 or 2 or 3. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
Training camps, what it is what matters. But again, Dean, I think was the mic, right? He should have been.
Yes, he wore he had the green dot in the helmet.
Right.
Yep,
right.
The Kobe Dean was the mic, and Morrow was with him as first team linebacker for most of most of the 25, 30 minutes, whatever it was.
Christian Ellis,
and it did move fast. I'll tell you, it did move fast.
Practice. Okay, good. Oh, the pace was good. That's good.
Yes.
Training camp, there was one team, talk more about this when we preview training camp till late July, but man, it really bothers me with training camp when they're slow. Most training camps are fast now, but there's some that are incredibly slow. And would you know it, they were bad teams.
Right.
Anyway.
Now, Hurts did make a couple of nice, tight window throws, but again, he had all the time in the world, so it's like quarterback play is whatever, but they were nice throws. I'll give him that. And that's about it. That would be the extent of my observations on that. So, are you ready for our fun little exercise?
Let's do the draft. Yeah, and I'm very interested to see where you're going to go here with some of these positions because
you
take my guy. I got a couple surprises.
Right.
Go. Okay.
So I noticed, because I'm now looking at the bottom of the screen. We were maybe not the same, but you had created your own team, but that's not how we're doing it.
No,
we are
no.
drafting the
okay.
NFC East. Okay.
No, but that's okay because you'll see.
Yeah, I'm not even going to look at that list that you submitted. So first, we're going to pause real quick to hear a word from some great sponsors. All right, so now we're going to draft the NFC East offense. Next podcast, we'll do defense. Whoever picks first, then the next guy. And here are the ground rules, just so everybody understands. Each of us are going to draft an offense of 11, right? One person per position, one quarterback, a running back. We have to have a running back and a tight end. Now, if you want to do a 12 personnel, you can do that. I can do an 11 personnel. We can both do 11, both do 12. It doesn't matter, but it's got to be realistic, right? We're not drafting like, some kind of crazy 14 personnel spread offense team. It's gonna look normal. And then you got to have at least one running back and one tight end. That's how we're gonna do it. And the rule is you're gonna draft a player at his position that he at least played mostly last year. So to use an example, yes, Landon Dickerson played center in college, but you can't, and I can't draft Landon Dickerson and say he's my center. All right, so that's how we're gonna do it. Now, the only thing left to do before we start is decide who has the first pick. So I can flip a coin. We can do rock, paper, scissors, or I can just let you go first.
You go.
No, I want you to go first.
All right.
I'm going to let you go first.
Where's the first
Age
pick?
Before beauty.
wait. We need your daughter to announce the pick. We should.
I know, right? Yeah. With the first pick. No.
Is it Raina?
What's that?
Is her name Raina?
Raina, yeah, she could have done that.
Yeah, she'd be great.
She has asked to do another intro, so we will.
Okay, no, it's funny. Someone emailed us and said, "Hey, when's she going to do her next?"
I know, I saw that. I thought it was funny. We'll get her on soon.
All right, so with the first pick overall in this draft, in our ITB offensive draft for the NFC, I'm going to go with number 1, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, the best offensive player, I think we both agree, in the NFC East, is your number 1 pick. All right, now I had a feeling you might take Jalen Hurts number 1, and for great reason. I mean, he is the best offensive player. I would say his last year was better than anybody else in the division's best year. And really the only person you could compare that to would be Dak Prescott's 3rd or 4th year, which was really good. But did he have a 50 touchdown year?
No,
or 40 something touchdown? I forget what it was, but he didn't go to the Super Bowl. So we can't say Dak Prescott had an equivalent year.
Hicks, I don't know what. It's not like him, and he owned it. He talked about it. No, his best year was 2 years ago with 37 touchdowns, but the 15 picks.
Yeah, that was very, very uncharacteristic of him. Yeah, 37 touchdowns. That's right. That's what I was thinking of. Not 50. I don't know why I said that. But so here's where the strategy's involved now as I'm getting ready to make my first pick. Right, I've got 3 quarterbacks here in the division. None of them are as good as Jalen Hurts, but I don't have to pick one now. Right, I don't have to go for that. So my theory is, let me get the best player at a thin position, so I have that advantage over you, just like you did to me. So with my first overall pick, I am going to take, knowing that I'm not going to have a great quarterback, and I'm probably going to have to keep this guy protected pretty well. I'm going to take Jason Kelce.
So it's center. Wow. Well, see. Kelce. Okay, here's the value. If you look at the rest of the centers,
exactly.
B-Dash is okay. For the Cowboys, the Giants drafted the kid John Michael Schmitz. I know they're excited about him.
They're excited, but people we spoke to weren't as excited. But
right. And he's a rookie. And then center for Washington, Nick Gates has come. Gates is a center guard, and they could Kit Stromberg. So so you get such an advantage by drafting Kelce, because I'm screwed now. I got to take a guy. Like, again, I know it's all. We're not playing this out like fantasy football, but
right.
If you put a value number in each position, Kelce is so much better. In fact, Kelce's better. Hurts is clearly the best quarterback in the division, but Kelce is so much better than the other centers. Where Hurts,
right? At
least Daniel Jones has improved.
Yep.
Yeah, Hurts is clearly better, and Dak obviously is better than Daniel Jones usually.
Right.
So bounces back, but man, Kelce is on another mountain. So I get it. I get why you did that. Okay.
There you go. All right. So first round is complete. Jalen Hurts for you, Jason Kelce for me.
All right. So the 3rd round.
Second round, really. Yeah.
Second round. Now I'm doing the same thing you did, because I went and looked and I don't think it's even remotely close if you just look at what's projected to start.
Okay.
To me, Lane Johnson's got to be the next pick. In fact,
That's a good
I
pick.
thought about Lane Johnson based on the rules that are set up here being my first pick. But it's the Hurts running part of it, which separates him from the other guys. He's so dynamic as a runner, sets them apart. Plus, we just got the Super Bowl with him. So I'm going with Lane Johnson here. Even at his advanced age, he's elite. He's going to be a Hall of Famer someday. I still think he's the best right tackle in football, and he's one of the top 2 or 3 tackles in football. So he's my pick.
Great pick. I can't argue it. It's a great pick. I probably would have taken him next if you didn't take him. Because again, I'm thinking I don't have Jalen Hurts. Whoever my quarterback's going to be, I've got to have him well protected. That's why I went with Kelsey. As I look at the tackle landscape, though, I like the next 2 guys, so I don't feel forced to have to go tackle here. I kind of like 2 guys at guard, but the thing is, we're going to have 4 guards here, and we have to play these guys where they're supposed to be played. So this is difficult for me. I just got to load up my line. I have to, be able to support my quarterback. So I'm going to take the right guard, Zach Martin here. And go with him with my first pick my pick in the second round. So now 2 rounds are complete. All right, you've got Jalen Hurts and Lane Johnson. I've got Jason Kelsey and Zach Martin. I feel like the Eagles, even though you have 2 Eagles, because I'm loading up on the O-line here.
I just want the best players. Zach Martin was my next pick. I was hoping you wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
See, this is where it gets hard because a lot of the other players are they're close.
Yeah.
Except the next guy is clearly better. No offense to any of the other running backs in the division, but I'm going with Saquon Barkley.
Good pick right there.
Just so much better than the other backs. Brian Robinson I like, but he's got to show what he can do for the full season. I'm just glad he's healthy. Come back to what happened to him last season. The Eagles don't have a starter yet.
Yep.
And Dallas, I like Pollard. He's coming off a serious injury. He's shown to me that he could gain a lot of volume. Barkley's.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. Great pick. Man, I was kind of hoping you wouldn't pick Barkley because I wanted to take him there.
Yeah, I know we're getting what sniped, as they say.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking like, wow, if you really look at it from a team, right, to have Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley in the same backfield is almost unfair.
Pretty good fantasy lineup, too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I'm trying to think, do I go another offensive lineman and really leave you weak in the offensive line, which I could do, or do I, get myself a nice playmaker, which there are a couple good ones. All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go line. I'm going to take Landon Dickerson and make him my left guard now and try to make this very difficult for you to put together a good offensive line.
Here's the thing. We don't have anyone else drafting with us. There's another left guard that's okay.
Yeah, there is.
I'm not worried about it.
Right.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
So that'll be my 3rd pick. So now it's your turn.
4th round.
Yeah, that was my 3rd pick. So we go start the 4th round with you.
I'm trying to get a value here, and knowing that this guy, this is another one. He's clearly the best guy. No one's even remotely close. It's number 88, Dallas Goedert.
Oh, wow. Tight end. Look at you. Okay.
Oh, here's why. Okay. Now I get it. There's no one else. I could have gone receiver. There's plenty of receivers. They're all good. I mean, no, but there are 5 or 6 that are really good.
Yeah.
It's like if here's the problem. If you get Goddard, if I didn't take Goddard and you got him, good luck trying to find another tight end.
Yeah. I mean, there's another good one, but you're right. It's not even close to yeah. You're 100% right there. Obviously, the other good one is Darren Waller, but he doesn't block anybody. So
he's 31. He turns 31,
and he's also injury prone, right?
And the Raiders looking to move him. There's a major drop off, and I know Goddard's had injuries. I get that. But much younger.
All right. Well, I am going to then take to the bottom of the 4th here, and I'm going to go ahead and take AJ Brown. Again, I know who my quarterback's most likely to be, and he needs as much protection and weaponry as possible. I don't have Jalen Hurts, so I got to get a star playmaker there. You're right to go with Goddard. I liked what you did there because of the separation. Whereas there are a decent number of wide receivers here, but I want an explosive one. I want the best one, so I'm taking AJ Brown.
He's the best one. I agree. Oh boy. See, give away what I'm thinking, but see, the drop off, the guys that are left at some of the positions that are scarce now, like not even worth taking. It's going to take the best player. I'm going to have to put together the best starting 11. Take Devontae Smith there.
You're going to take Devontae Smith
over McLaurin. Yep, it's close.
That's not a bad pick. That's good. All right.
McLaurin got his contract. It's tough, man. I'm such a huge McLaurin fan. I just kind of flip a coin. I'm just want to fill out the best 11.
You know? Yeah, no, hey, listen, that makes a whole lot of sense, and that's a really nice pick. It sort of puts me in a weird spot now. I don't have to pick a quarterback because I have my pick of the three. I don't have to pick a running back because you've got yours already. And you know, while there's a huge drop off, there's still some guys. I could go with another wide receiver and really kind of start to thin that position out, which I'm thinking of doing. Because again, I know my quarterback is not going to be. It's not going to be Jalen Hurts. So I already got my center. I don't have my tight end. I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to go ahead and, like you said, just try to get the best player available. And I'm going to give myself, now I'm going to get boos for this, I know, from our listeners, most of them, the Eagles fans. But I'm going to go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb right there and pair him with AJ Brown. I got a nice little inside-outside tandem here, Adam.
Right, but Lamb will probably he's better off in the slot. Yeah.
Yeah. Get myself a nice slot receiver.
What round are we in?
That would be the end of the 5th round. So just to recap, your 5 offensive players so far are Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Lane Johnson. Mine are Jason Kelce, Zach Martin at right guard, Landon Dickerson at left guard, and my 2 wide receivers are AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb. So let's make one more pick, and then we'll kind of pause for a second, but we'll get you one more round in before we do that.
All right. I am going to take the best player on the board, and that's scary Terry McLaurin.
Oh, that man, McLaurin and Devontae Smith. You're talking about you have a route running clinic right here with Devontae Smith and Terry McLaurin.
Great call. That's exactly it. McLaurin's such a great dude, super high character, been a great story development, and they took who was it? Paris Campbell went ahead of him, right?
Yeah. And the guy we know known as J-Jaw.
Yeah, I know, because Campbell put up better numbers there, but
right.
I like my team now, but here's the problem: the guys I'm going to be taking later, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, so I will end this by this is a difficult one. I had a couple of different ways I wanted to go. There's 2 really good left tackles available. One's on the way up, the other's on the way down. I'm going to go ahead and take Andrew Howard because he's on the way up and he was an All-Pro, I believe, last year. What's that?
Andrew Thomas.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Andrew Thomas.
Andrew Howard worked in the NFL.
Exactly. And he's an Eagles fan. He'd be happy for me to accidentally make that. But I'm loving my offensive line right now. I mean, I have Andrew Thomas at left tackle, Landon Dickerson at left guard, Jason Kelce at center, and Zach Martin at right guard. That is a hell of an offensive line.
Honestly, Andrew Thomas has been an incredible story development. He awful year 1, good year 2, and they think he's a franchise left tackle. And I wouldn't disagree. Everyone I've talked to who watches tape says he's a stud. What a great kid, great story. And while you got to be careful of killing a guy year 1, you got to let the guy play and play it out. And been a good story development.
100%. All right, so we both have drafted 6 players, almost half of our team. Now's a good time to remind everybody to check out our friends at phlsportsnation.com. They're enhancing the fans' experience by covering all Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto. So make sure you check them out at phlsportsnation.com and on Twitter at phlsportsnation. Let's also hear a word from our great friends at Sky Motor Cars.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people all over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schiller, make sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorCars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
And if you happen to stop in at Sky Motor Cars in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Geoff sent you. You'll get a great deal. All right, my friend, you've got some offensive line holes to fill. Now, granted, there's still a lot of good talent there, but I've certainly loaded up in that area.
Well, see, again, it's real simple. I need a left tackle. In my grade, I had Thomas a little bit higher than Mailata, but the rest of the players are there are a couple good players, but at other positions. But I'll wait because I think you actually have taken you can't draft them because you have them already at that position. So not worrying about it. So I'm obviously going to take Mailata here.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a left tackle, so I was going to go Andrew Thomas here, but you beat me to him. So I've got my left tackle and my right tackle. I got my bookends.
Yeah, I think Tyron Smith would be upset with you. He would probably feel snubbed. He might say, "Yeah, I'm old, but I'm a pretty good left tackle still."
Tyron Smith is nearing the end, and you have all the back problems still good.
Right.
I don't know if he's a borderline Hall of Famer. I'd have to ask some people. Okay. Turns 33 in December. They drafted his replacement in Tyler Smith, although Tyler Smith played guard last season and shocked the world. Played well there.
Yeah.
But I'm going with my left.
All right, I like it. Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, so I do need a right tackle still. And you don't. So I could hold off on right tackle. I could try to add one more dynamic playmaker. And, I'm going to do that because I really love what I can do with this guy because I have AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb. So I have a guy who can play the outside and a guy who can play the slot. So what I really want is another outside guy. But I'd like a little bit of maneuverability with him. So plus he's a Penn State guy.
On 11.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Jahan Dotson here.
He was so good before the hamstring. I think he scored every game.
So I'm definitely going to be an 11 personnel team, and that's going to probably factor into my decision at tight end. That might make it a little interesting. We'll see.
Okay, so that ends round 7, right?
Yep, that ends round 7. So beginning of round 8.
All right, round 8. I want to go 12 or 11. Took my guy Dotson. No, I'm not taking Curtis Samuel. No, I don't.
Yeah, I did notice you had 2 outside receivers in Devontae Smith and McLaurin, and I thought if I want Dotson, I better get him here.
Smith gets a piece of Z.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go probably. Now, okay. Wait a minute. Did I take a guard yet?
You do not have a right guard or a left guard. In fact, your only offensive linemen are very familiar for most of our listeners. It's Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata.
I'm taking a guy who I mentioned a couple minutes ago. No one thought he could play left guard. It was shocking. And that's Tyler Smith of the Cowboys out of Tulsa. Really did a good job. He remember he lost the guard job.
Yeah.
To Connor McGovern, who's gone. And once he got it to the point where geez, should they keep? I remember talking to some of the Cowboys. Like, wow, we didn't expect him to be this good. Maybe we should keep him in there. So right now, that's where he played last year for the most part.
So you said left guard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler Smith, left guard. Is that your first Cowboy, by the way? It is your first Cowboy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take 2 running backs.
Yeah, I've got 2 Cowboys so far, so I know people aren't going to be real thrilled with my team. And you know what? I think I'm about to add another one, Adam.
Cowpokes.
I need a running back, and I've been sitting here trying to weigh between Tony Pollard, who's never proven he can be a high volume runner, to DeAndre Swift, who should be, but has also never proven it because he's been too injured to be one. I'm going to go with Pollard. I'm trying to build an explosive team. I have AJ Brown. I have Jahan Dotson. I've got a great offensive line. So even though he's not a high volume guy, I'll just have to make it work and make Tony Pollard my running back.
He's so good. He is so good.
Yeah.
What a great story. Now, I remember we were talking to Brian Silverfield, his head coach from Memphis, a couple of years ago. We were teasing him, I said, Coach, why do we never hear about him? We heard about everybody else. You're good because teams didn't really ask about him. How crazy is that?
I know it is crazy. I mean, he's really an explosive runner. I expect him to do pretty well for the Cowboys this year. I mean, they added, to their offense, right? They brought Brandon Cooks in. Terrence Steele will come back. Their offensive line's still pretty good. It just gets banged up a lot. If Dak just can eliminate the turnovers and maybe the addition of Cooks and Gallup a year removed from the ACL will help him, then I could see that team being pretty good. And Dak not having as many interceptions as he had.
Yeah, see, I might have cheated. I don't have the snap count to left tackle, left guard for Tyler Smith.
Well, he played left guard last year, definitely. So
I know, but I also think he what happened was Tyron Smith, I think he missed some time.
Mm-hmm.
I think he also played left tackle as well. But
he did. I always assume. I think he I wrote what they were last year or what they project this year, and so I think he projects this year to play guard, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That worked. And that definitely worked.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So far, you got a quarterback, Jalen Hurts, running back, Saquon Barkley, two route running receivers in Devontae Smith and Terry McLaurin, Dallas Goedert's your tight end, and your three offensive linemen are right tackle Lane Johnson, left tackle Jordan Mailata, and left guard, Tyler Smith.
Yeah, and what happened is, remember, Tyron Smith was coming off of an injury. He didn't play till late in the season, I think. And we played
Yeah.
Curious where Tyler Smith line up at left guard or left tackle.
So you need a center, you need a right guard, and either another wide receiver to go 11 or a second tight end to be a great 12 person on the team. I can see the gears right in your mind just churning right now.
Trying to decide 12 or 11. See, the problem is oh. We're going 11. I got it.
Okay.
This guy should have been an Eagle 2014. Should know where I'm going when I said that.
Brandon Cooks.
They thought they had him. No offense to Marcus Smith, who we met at the Super Bowl. This was their guy, and then like the 5 players they wanted went right before them, and they couldn't trade out.
That's a good deal right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, I was worried for a second that you and strategically you could have done this and really screwed me, right? You could have been a 12 personnel team and taken Darren Waller and said, that's my flex tight end and my Dallas Goedert's my blocking and receiving tight end. And then I would have been left with like nobody, right?
I know. I could have put the block on you, but
yeah.
Darren Waller, 31 in September, which means he's 31 in NFL years.
Right.
I'm not sure. Look, the guy was a great story based on everything he went through in his life.
Yeah.
But why did the Raiders want him off the rosters after extending his arm?
No, it's a fair question. It's a really, really good question. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure I want to take him.
Well, but again, okay, so the receivers that are left are all the Giant guys. They're backups. Hodgins was a good story, but you don't he's backup.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah, I got good receivers here. I need a tight end. Logan Thomas, he doesn't like, I don't love him. He's not going to block me at all. Neither is Darren Waller. I mean, I could go Jake Ferguson a little bit. Yeah, or Daniel Bellinger can block a little bit.
Dallas drafted the kid Schoonmaker from Michigan.
Schoonmaker, yeah. I got a lot of Cowboys, man, and I may have to add another one, so I'm not trying to do
okay.
But I do need a right tackle, and the right tackle left, to me, the best right tackle left would be also a Cowboy. In fact, I'm probably gonna I'm gonna go ahead and take him.
Steele's coming off an UCL this year.
I know, but I'm gonna take him anyway and figure that he's still the best.
That's why I took Lane early, because I knew you got Terrence Steele ACL.
Yeah.
Evan Neal struggled last season.
Yep.
Andrew Wiley.
Oh, I wasn't touching Andrew Wiley with a 10-foot pole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonder why Washington can't win? It's because they put together average offensive lines.
Every year. It's crazy. It's like they don't watch the rest of the league. I'm shocked by it.
Watch the team in their division that just got the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, even the Cowboys put a lot in their offensive line too. They have two teams in their own division that manhandle them up front, and they can't figure it out.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyway.
Yeah. But I'm going to go Terrence Steele and round out my offensive line. So this is look. Andrew Thomas, left tackle. Jason Kelce, center. Left guard Landon Dickerson, right guard Zach Martin, right tackle Terrence Steele. That's a mammoth offensive line right there.
I got one weakness. It's right tackle.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
All right, round 9.
Your turn. Yeah, started round 9.
3 rounds left.
No, round 10 actually. 10 and 11. Yeah, 2 rounds left.
Okay.
All you need is a center and a right guard.
11. Yeah. Starting center. Oh boy. It's a total mess. I'm going to go just because he's the returning guy.
Uh-huh.
He's Tyler Biadasz.
Not bad. Not bad.
Okay.
Look, he's not nearly as much of a liability as other center. As if you had taken like Nick Gates or if you had taken Schmitz, the rookie, you know? Yeah.
Right. We don't know who's going to start there.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll take it.
No, yeah, it's a good value pick right there. And then, you know, I'm still wavering on tight end. So as you do that, I'm just going to go ahead and make Dak Prescott my quarterback.
Of course.
So, God, I have an obscene number of Cowboys.
Yeah,
I have what? Prescott, Pollard, Lamb, Steele, and Zach Martin.
Good team, though. They're talented.
Yeah,
they always draft well. They draft well. They don't coach so well, or they don't. Some reasons they choke. So anyway.
All right, give me your right guard so we can finish this off.
All right, my right guard. You sniped Zach Martin off of me.
Yeah, I mean, and let's just go through your options here. I think Washington will be playing Sam Cosmi at right guard this year. He'll be moving from tackle.
I don't know if the Giants know who it's going to be.
It's probably going to be Azidu, right?
Oh,
Glowinski? Okay, I thought it might be Josh Azidu.
Well, Zudu is talented. He's coming up an injury. It could be. Again, where I don't even think. Yeah, in fact, he was on IR last season.
Right. There's Ben Bredesen.
Then right, but again, we're now in early June. We don't know yet. I'm just going to go with. I'll go with Mark Lewinsky, which I'm assuming.
Mark Lewinsky, the aging veteran. Hey, look, he can block in the run game, right?
Yeah, I got him from the Colts.
Yeah. Wow. All right, and I'm gonna have to finish this off at tight end. Bellinger can block a little bit, you know. He's not going to catch anything, but
that's funny. They're one of the beat writers. I guess he bulked up they showed his pecs and showed his arms.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and his biceps. They showed his biceps, and I'm like, is that what we're doing now in practice? But no, I guess the ESPN social tweeted it out. He's jacked up. Bellinger.
Well, I'm just gonna put. I'm tantalized, but I'm overthinking it. I've got a great offensive line. I'll be able to block up mostly everything, so I'm gonna just put Darren Waller on this team and give myself.
You have to.
Yeah, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Jahan Dotson, Darren Waller, and Tony Pollard he can catch passes too. So it'll be a nice explosive offense there. All right, so that's our offensive draft. So here's the recap: Adam's team: quarterback Jalen Hurts, running back Saquon Barkley. Wide receivers are Brandon Cooks, Devontae Smith, and Terry McLaurin, with Dallas Goedert as his tight end. His offensive line from left to right would be left tackle Jordan Mailata, left guard Tyler Smith, center Tyler Biadasz, right guard Mark Lewinsky, right tackle Lane Johnson. That is Adam's team. My team: quarterback is Dak Prescott, running back's Tony Pollard, tight end Darren Waller. My wide receivers are A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Jahan Dotson in the slot. And my offensive line from left to right will be Andrew Thomas, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele at right tackle. What we'll do is, for those listening, go to our Twitter account at Inside Birds, and then we'll also do it on Facebook. We'll just it'll be a poll. Whose offense do you like more? I'll have Adam's offense or Jeff's offense, and you get to vote.
I don't see a weakness on. Well, I got a pretty good offense.
Yeah, you have a very good offense.
Other than right tackle for you, I mean, your line is dominant. You got the receivers,
which I had to do because I had the lesser quarterback, so I had to make sure he was protected.
Right, and you lucked out on Waller because we don't have another person drafting with us.
That's right.
Lucked out on Waller here. We should have had to check, or maybe we'll do another one.
We could have. Yeah, if we had to, then that would be really interesting.
Yeah, because man, everyone's going to get sniped. Then you're going to be starting guys that maybe you might not really want to start.
Of course. I mean, we're only one pick away from getting like a Charles Leno in there.
Charles, not Jay Leno, or Evan Neal struggled with.
Yeah, or Evan Neal. Yeah. So that's good stuff. All right. So you guys can vote, get back to us, and then we'll announce who the winner, me or Adam, by our next podcast, in which we'll do a defensive team. So that should be a whole lot of fun. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Big thanks as always to you, our listeners, for flying with us inside the Birds.